Welcome to Sugarfrost Horror Stories, where everyday life hides unspeakable terror. New stories are posted weekly, each one crafted to keep you looking over your shoulder. Are you brave enough to listen? Subscribe now and never be alone again.
Listen!
Story 5, The Last File. It started with the rain. A constant drizzle that blurred the windows and drowned out the sound of the city below. I had always loved the rain, but after the past week, it had begun to feel like a weight pressing against my apartment, like the sky was trying to crush the building with its sadness. I was working late again. Freelance writing was supposed to give me freedom. Instead, it gave me deadlines at midnight and aching eyes from staring at a screen too long. My clients didn't care about my mood or the storm outside. They just wanted polished articles and prompt invoices. I sat hunched over my laptop on the couch, tapping at the keys, trying to finish a long, boring report for some dental software company. My coffee had gone cold, my back ached, and my internet service kept cutting in and out from the storm. Around 10:30, I heard typing, not mine. At first, I thought it was my fingers, echoing strangely in the room. But the sound was off, too fast, too sharp. It was coming from the hallway. I paused, listened, silence. I shook it off. I was tired, hearing things. Then it happened again. Typing, distinct, rhythmic, coming from the spare room at the end of the hall. I hadn't used that room in months. It was where I kept my old desk and my first laptop, the one that had started glitching out last year. It had been acting up for weeks, files opening on their own, folders disappearing and reappearing. I thought it was malware. I wiped it clean and tossed it in the spare room, then never touched it again. But tonight, the typing came from there. I stood up slowly and walked down the hall. The door was slightly open. The room was dark, but I could see the soft glow of a screen. The old laptop was on. I stepped inside and froze. The screen showed a document I didn't remember writing. A single sentence blinked at the top of the page. "You logged in with my name." I stared at it. The air in the room was freezing. The hair on my arm stood up. Then, the lights in the apartment cut out with a loud pop. Thunder shook the walls. For a second, the room was pitch black. A flash of lightning lit up the hallway behind me. He was standing there. His face looked like mine, but twisted, gaunt, tired, like someone who had not slept in years. His shirt was stained and soaked as if he had been caught in the rain for hours. He was breathing hard, shoulders rising and falling. And then, the lights came back on. The hallway was empty. I backed away from the spare room and closed the door. Tried to breathe. Told myself it was just exhaustion. Maybe some weird bug. Maybe a screensaver. Anything. But when I returned to the living room, my current laptop was also on a document I did not open. New text was appearing in real time. "You are sitting in my spot." My heart pounded. I slammed the laptop shut. That was when I remembered the landlord mentioning something offhand when I moved in. A former tenant had died here a few years back. A work-from-home copywriter. Mid-30s. They found him after days of silence. He had collapsed at his desk. Nothing suspicious. Just stress and a failing heart, they said. His name was Mark. My name is Mark. I had thought it was a coincidence. A strange but meaningless overlap. But now I wasn't sure. I went back to the spare room. The laptop was off. I approached it carefully and lifted the lid. It booted up instantly. No login, no prompt. Just the same document still open. New words had been added. "You took my job. You took my room. You took my name." The screen flickered. "Give it back." And then the power went out again. Lightning split the sky. In a flash, he was crawling from beneath the desk toward me. His eyes locked on mine, wide and wet, burning with fury. His jaw hung open, not screaming, just breathing, mouth agape like he had been gasping for years. The lights blinked on. He was gone. But something in me said he wasn't done. That night, I couldn't sleep. I opened every folder I had, checked every login, every backup. Nothing made sense. But one of the files on the old laptop had an old resume. Mark's resume. I Googled the company he listed, a boutique copywriting firm. I called them the next morning, pretending I was a recruiter doing background checks. The woman on the other end went quiet when I said his name. "You're looking into Mark Allister?" she asked. "Yes. He used to live in my apartment. I just found some of his files and wanted to return them." She hesitated. "Mark was one of ours, years ago. He was brilliant, fast, reliable. But he started burning out. He wouldn't stop working, even after we cut back his projects. One day he just disappeared. We found out later he died in his apartment. Heart failure. He was only 35. Did he finish his last project?" I asked curiously. "I don't know. Maybe. But when we tried to retrieve his files, his laptop wouldn't turn on. Everything was corrupted." I thanked her and hung up. Then I turned slowly to look at the old laptop across the room. It was already open. A document was waiting on the screen, finished, formatted, perfectly edited. At the bottom was a name, written by Mark Allister. I have never opened that laptop again, but I never moved out. And every week I receive an email. No address, no sender. Just a subject line that reads, "New file uploaded, ready for review." And whether I open them or not, I always hear the same thing in the quiet. Typing. Always typing.